Video calls have taken over people's work and personal lives during the pandemic. The shift from in-person meetings to virtual has taken a toll on society, particularly among women. KCRA 3's Brittany Johnson has more on this new study and some possible solutions.
Virtual meetings, they're happening daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Call.
Give me their names and the website, and I'll look and see maybe there's board members or something that we can go to.
After call.
I do have a few rental properties up in Sacramento up north. So it looks like that market is very hot, one of the hottest markets in the country.
After call.
My name is Crystal Whitehead. I have a salon in Elk Grove. I am the owner, and I specialize in silk presses.
Leaving people exhausted, anxious, and trapped. That's according to a just released study from Stanford University. I hopped on a Zoom call to talk with one of the authors, Professor Jeff Hancock.
There's a couple of main reasons why we think Zoom fatigue is different than, say, just regular face-to-face meetings or telephone calls.
One of the reasons people are exhausted is due to a mirror effect. We've gone from talking face-to-face to having a mirror of ourselves right beside the face of the person we're looking at. Researchers say this creates a distraction. More people are concerned with how they look, which can trigger anxiety and lead to fatigue.
In fact, that's the thing that we think leads to the biggest difficulty for women, is they're a little bit more anxious about the mirror.
Hancock and his team found just over 13% of women, compared with over 5% of men, reported feeling very to extremely fatigued after Zoom calls. So why does research show women feel more exhausted than men following video calls?
So women had less breaks in between their Zooms. We weren't expecting that. And we think it's because they also have to do more childcare and home care. So they're probably trying to squeeze their Zoom meetings in. And that could be another reason why they're getting a lot more tired.
And there are other downsides to all those virtual meetings, and both men and women are feeling it. Many say they feel trapped.
Also feeling physically constrained. So right now I have to stay inside this box that is the camera. And so unlike a regular meeting, I can't turn around or walk or pace. And so a lot of people report feeling physically trapped, and that's tiring, especially for younger people. There's also hypergaze. So if you're in meetings with lots of people, even when you're not talking, it seems like everyone's looking at you, even when they're not. And so that's that feeling of like being stared at, and it's also kind of close. And so that makes us feel kind of like physiologically excited. And doing that for long times can make us really tired. And the last is sort of like having to think about things like, do I move my hands like this? Do I do this now? Is it Brittany's turn or mine? And so managing these things that are normally effortless can take a real toll.
Personalities play a role as well.
Extroverts like myself don't suffer as much fatigue as someone that's more introverted. And so, you know, that's sort of important to think about. Different people are going to have different experiences based on their personality. We also measured something called emotional stability. So people that are really calm versus people that are more anxious. And people that are more anxious and not calm, they suffer much more fatigue.
Hancock offers this advice for organizations who want to wake up staff zapped by Zoom fatigue. Implement no video meeting days. If video is not necessary for a meeting, make video off mandatory for that meeting. And find out if your employees or colleagues are fatigued. Reporting in Sacramento, Brittany Johnson, KCRA 3 News.